how you're going to help people find their why and why it's important and the struggles that you're also going to have when you're trying to find people's why. But initially, when you're trying, what are some shortcomings that might, shortcomings with trying to help someone without potentially understanding why they need or want help? Like, can anyone think of some straight off the top of their head? You're trying to help someone but you don't know why they're there. Anything? But like, how can you not help them? Like, what are some struggles? Like, could you help them better if you understood more about their why? What if someone comes in, for example, I'll give you a better example. Someone comes in and they're just like, yeah, I want to get fitter. How do you help this person versus the person who comes in and they're like, I really struggle with my relationship with food because of blah, 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 blah. Whatever, they have some specific examples.
The easy one is just similar to the Simon video of like going out of all the coaches and all the people that do this, there's lots of them, why me helping out as well. So then that way it might be a particular thing that you do, or might just be a particular connection, especially if it's a family or friend, that hey, I know and I trust you, and obviously you do this as a job and that sort of stuff, but just figuring out why they came to you for that help.
Yeah, you can really understand a lot more and troubleshoot how you're going to help them in that kind of sense, I imagine, because you have a lot more familiarity with it. Whereas lots of times when you're going to be PTing and talking to people and meeting new people, they're going to not tell you straight away. They're going to say stuff like, I want to be fit. Like, what is that? Well, you're going to have to be good at actually engaging in conversation with them to essentially get them to tell you, like Simon said. You're not going to dig it out of them. They've got to want to tell you. But that's why it's also very important to actually understand someone's why. And the way you're doing it, obviously, when you're working with people is you're going to be consulting with them. So the way you talk to them and question them and ask them things is the basis for how you do this. That's like your tool. So you want to get good at using it, and you want to know how to use it right, and you want to know which tool to use too. So we're talking about questions here. We've got the Getty images. That's me and my consults, actually. Interrogative questions. How do we do it? So there's a lot of different types of questions. We're going to start with interrogative questions. And obviously, it looks exactly like that. They come in, they didn't expect it, but the door's locked now. So what I like to do, start with who, what, when, why, and which. These are the types of questions that help paint the vision in your prospect's mind, I say. So, for example, who do you want to look like? What do you want me to do for you? Why is this important to you? How can I help you achieve this? Do you notice a common theme with those questions?
Open-ended.
Yeah, they're open-ended. Exactly. Yeah. What's that?
No bias in 3 times. Not that.
That's crazy.
You just make them up out of the big way,
I like it. Yeah, they're open-ended, man. You're getting them to say, and they're open-ended. So that means they can't just say yes, no, maybe. If they give you that, you have to ask them that. You have to ask again, or ask them in a different way. Yeah. So you can't. The key thing is it's really important that you don't answer for them. I used to do this all the time, and it might not even look like you just answer for them, but offering potential examples of answers as well, because it can pre-shift the ideas and beliefs that you'd actually want them to organically produce, because you want to know what's in their head. So when you ask them these questions, there'll be people who just like talk, and that's sick. They're the ones that you just don't have to pull on the threads, but a lot of people are going to be a bit more silent, reserved, because they're probably in a room with you. They might not know much about you because maybe the gym hooked you up with the consult. Maybe they're just nervous because it's important to them. So there's going to be silence, and you have to be able to sit with that. So it's expected, and it's a skill on your part to like not give in when you have that silence. Embrace it. It's good. That's something that I really learned from Alexander, is that pausing in between your words and actually just like sitting there for a couple of seconds is actually a really good tactic to use to also create authority, and it radiates that you're confident in the actual interaction itself, and it's better than saying which does the opposite. But you also want to imply that, hey, I want you to think here. Like, this isn't supposed to be something you're supposed to get straight off your dome. It's something that you should actually think about because it's meaningful to you. And if you knew the answers and you could just produce this straight on the spot, it's probably the kind of person who's just like not acted on these important actions in the past, and they're finally sick of it, and they're just like, let's just start, let's just do something about this. They have to paint the vision. It gets you out of your world into theirs, and you have to immerse yourself in their picture. Like you have to find their picture and really dig deep into that and understand it, because everyone's different, everyone's unique, and I think you should really embrace the idea that everyone has their own intricacies, and that's the whole reason you don't just like give a cookie cutter approach to everyone. That's why you have a roadmap and mindset call with them, because you're not just like, hey, come on in, like I have this program 2 days a week, it's probably good enough for you. You don't exercise at all, you're probably going to get benefit out of it. Then we'll touch on nutrition and we'll just get you like eating a little bit less. Like, yeah, like it probably works for most people, but you're there to provide a really personalized, high value service to really help people in a way that they're not going to get helped by the next person. So yeah, get comfortable with silence. And yeah, I like to think of these as like, as a metaphor, painting a picture in broad brush strokes. It gives you the outline and the first coat to really understanding a little bit more about them, which you'll get into when you ask them some more verb-led questions. So these are more yes-nos. That was the funniest photo I could find. How do I do it? 3 possible responses on verb-led questions. So yes, no, maybe, derivatives. Verb-led questions tend to start with can, do, would, if, is, are, could, share, etc. Examples would be, can you see yourself doing this? So that would be like when you're giving those easy return on investment tips when you're actually in that roadmap mindset call with them, when you're asking like, okay, well, you're not just going to be like, okay, well, you say you struggle with energy, what you're going to do is actually just go stare at the sun for 15 minutes when you wake up, because you don't know if they can actually do that with their day-to-day life. Maybe they work at a job where they start before the sun even comes up or something like that. And you actually want them to agree on these habits because that's going to increase adherence. You can't just tell them to do it and expect them to do it. If you actually ask them, even if it seems like a no-brainer, if you get them to agree on it in that call right in front of you, naturally they build the expectation in their own head that they have to align with what they say, because that's what humans want to do. They want to align with how they view themselves. And if they actually do that, they're going to start being like, hey man, I said I was going to do this. Like, I feel guilty if I don't do this. I feel guilty if I don't have like the ACV before my dinner. And I was telling them that I struggle with digestion. Whereas if you just tell them to do it, you can't just give them a list and expect them to have the same level of adherence.
That, what Jai just said there, you will need to make that fat, bold and underlined. That sentence could have ended very differently. You've got to make that, highlight the shit out of that one, please. That's the most valuable thing I think Jai said. You articulated it well done.
Also,
What part?
what he said.
Basically, why people need to have autonomy over their own destiny via the verb-led questions of how does that sound, for example.
Yeah, because I think is the biggest thing is, I can't remember who said it or what the exact phrasing is, but one of the key things about people is they want to feel aligned with their own vision of themselves, who they think they are. So if you're saying, if you view yourself as someone who exercises, and then you don't exercise, what do you feel like? Yeah. So if you get people to say like, yeah, for example, like, oh, how do you feel about taking these supplements? Or is this something that you can do? Like supplementing with magnesium before you go to bed for better, more restful sleep? Asking that question, getting them to agree to it, because they're going to say yes if they're coming to you trying to, improve their recovery and like feel better and feel healthier and not feel like shit. They're going to say yes. And when they say yes, it's a lot easier it's just statistically shown to improve their adherence to actually
Completely.
staying with the habit.
You will get better results with your clients if you ask the most basic of questions that seem silly. How does that sound to you? Is that something you think you can feel you can confidently do? Because people want to avoid cognitive dissonance. Write that down if you know what it means. Cognitive dissonance, and I pulled up the exact articulation here. Cognitive dissonance, psychological state that occurs when someone holds conflicting beliefs, attitudes, or values, or the discomfort that results from this conflict. If Jai and M and Lucky, I say, do this presentation, I can say, can you do this presentation? And they say yes, and they do not do it, then there is a value conflict that they must face where they are no longer the types of people that keep their word or have integrity. Versus if I just say, hey Steph, can you do this? You say, sure. And then I follow up with you. How did that go? Oh, I didn't get that module done. It's much easier for you to live with that versus you agreeing with yourself and making a commitment with yourself. Hey, can you do that? Yeah, I can do that. I'm pretty sure I can do it. I'm very confident I can do it. And next week you didn't do it. It's like, shit. I kind of lied to myself. You have to face yourself.
That also helps your clients build a lot of confidence with themselves, because that's how you build confidence, is you stack that proof of you doing the thing. So if they do like agree and be like, yes, I can do that, and then they do it, they're stacking that proof and building confidence in themselves and trust in themselves, which is a big thing that a lot of people lack. Because I was there as well. But when you stack that proof, that ultimately builds confidence. Like people think confidence is like that shredded look, like that thing. It's like, no, it's actually just like building trust within yourself and making and keeping the promises that you make to yourself. So that also helps your clients in another way as well.
Easy wins. Like that's what you framed it as, like the easy things, the easy wins that they can get to start off with, just to build some momentum. Even if it seems so simple as like for us, just drink a little bit more water. To them, it's like, because they haven't been doing that, as soon as they start doing it, they feel the momentum, and then when they build more momentum, they start approaching things that seem like challenges initially, as with like this mindset, like I can do this, and they fret over it a little bit less, and they just have a bit more success. And you want to just make sure you don't put the prospect in a position to say no first or feel bad about saying no. That's why the way Alex phrased it, he's like, does this sound like something that you could do? Like it's very you say you're not pressuring them into answering. Yeah, it's not confrontational. It's like, do you think you could do this? It's like you're actually like seeing even, it's not like you're speaking down to them. Like you're kind of not being, patronizing or anything like that. Like you're not.
It sounds like more supportive.
Supportive, yeah. It's like you're just talking to a friend.
Giving the client the power, in that way.
Yeah, 100%. Like they can say no to some of these things, and that's probably normal for a couple of things, but most of the time you're probably starting with some stuff that's pretty relevant to them that they're going to want to actually make some changes on. But even if they do, it's okay. But you just don't want them to say no straight away. So ask them the simple things. That's why I just like to start small and then build up from there. You may get a maybe. Maybes tend to suffocate action, I'd say. So you don't want as many maybes. If you get maybes, you want elaborate on it a little bit more, see if you can meet them somewhere in the middle. You don't want to just like leave it at a maybe, because it's a maybe. If someone says maybe, they'll do something. You don't have the expectation whether they're going to do it or not. It's kind of just like, it's worse than a no in a way, because it feels like you not giving them the authority and like the actual guidance that they actually are investing into you for. They want to be told what to do, or they should be told what to do sometimes to a certain degree. But start with the easy stuff first. And yeah, how does that sound? Does that make sense? That's like a really good place to go from there. And there's like a little 3-step process, which you can kind of go about that. Listen first, diagnose second, prescribe first. So listen first to actually understand their needs. Don't just give them a random one. Diagnose their actual challenges, and only then prescribe a solution that feels tailored and actually valuable to their circumstance. It'll build trust and guide them to a confident decision that, hey, this thing that I'm agreeing to do will benefit me. Then it's not like it's not a negotiation. It's just like, oh, okay, I see how that works. It's a no-brainer. It's like, why would I not want to do that? Yeah, those are the 2 ways I'd think about questioning them. We got it all? Got that, Riley? Yeah. I like to look at it as like a fun. I'm coming from an athlete background myself. I used to play soccer. I wanted to be a professional soccer player. And I find that when I apply that same mindset to, like, there's no reason you can't apply that same mindset to everything. So I like to treat this shit like your sport. And this is where I like to get a bit more, what do we say, creative with like how I think about doing this work. There isn't like a set mold that you have to fit into when it comes to actually helping people. So I like to look at other people who have done their own professions, treated it in the same way. I look at someone like Chris Williamson. Everyone probably knows Chris Williamson. Does anyone not? He's everywhere, right? He approaches, I think he's a great example of this, because he approaches podcasting, something that seems kind of like mundane, like I guess like kind of just like a podcast host. You just like talk to people, or pretty straightforward. But he approaches it with a level of dedication that is akin to a professional athlete, because he does things. He looks into areas that are often overlooked by many others, especially his contemporaries. For example, like his vocal delivery. He's mentioned so many times that he works with a speech coach to refine the way he speaks to people and make it so he comes across with more clarity, and it's more engaging, entertaining, and he's treating things that would be seemingly seen as, well, it's just kind of like how you speak, as like, why can't you get better at that? Why can't you train for that 3 times a week? You know, why can't you book lessons with someone who's the best at it or best at teaching this kind of thing? Then you can look at other professionals who are like at the top of the world, really, like Elon Musk, and it's relentlessly pursuing innovation with multiple different ventures, Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, that all have their own differences, but treating it like it's the highest stakes challenge. At Tesla's early stages, he's sleeping on the factory floor, working 100 hours a week. It's not to say you have to work 100 hours a week, but the point is to ensure his production that he's invested in, that his life depends on, stays on track. And he claims his intense commitment is part of why his companies succeed. And it's evident to see in anyone who, no matter what you think of someone on a personal level, whether you like them or not, when they treat, if you actually just thought about, what if I treated my coaching business with this, like a level, even like a 1/10 of like that vigor? You just think of like what you could actually do with it, as opposed to just being like, yeah, I coach people like in the mornings and the evenings, and it's going all right. And it's kind of, yeah, like you probably have that conversation with like other PTs in your gym. I don't know, you guys see that a lot. You work in gyms with more PTs than me. You'd probably just see how other people run their businesses.
Just thinking about 5 people at Good Life that would say that.
Yeah.
And that is like straight off my head. Like they're basically all would say that.
Yeah, it's like people approach their work living in like this kind of mold most of the time, whereas like the whole point is we're outside of that. You're here because like you're not you're like, Trinity is the anti-university thing. Like, it's outside the box, bro. Like, that's what you all are. You're all different. You're all like approaching this with that outsider mindset where you actually want to learn more than what is just regularly taught to most of the people that you're actually going to be contemporaries with. Another one, last one. My favorite, Kanye West. I dug deep into this one because I love hip hop and I love music, but I thought specifically when he made his most critically acclaimed album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, it was a really good example of how he treated it, thinking outside the box. He's already outside the box. He's living in his own box these days. He basically, when he made this album, he rented out an entire studio in Honolulu, Hawaii, and essentially turned it into an artistic boot camp. So he isolated himself there, imposed strict rules. Everyone had to wear suits to the studio, maintain a professional atmosphere, in his own words, reflect the gravity of the mission that he was trying to do creatively. He invited some of the most talented artists to join him, including like Rick Ross, Nicki Minaj. This is like in 2011, 2010, when he was making the album, 2019, or 2009. And more, and this wasn't just about featuring big names, but it was about creating an environment where ideas from diverse sets of creative minds could clash and evolve. And I think that relentless pursuit of perfection resulted in a genre-defining masterpiece that defined his legacy and set a new standard for art, music. He literally booked out a studio in Hawaii and like he didn't leave there, just was chilling there. There's lots of wild stories if you Google them. One of my favorite ones, I think he had, you know, Mary-Kate and Ashley? Yeah, he invited them to the studio, and I think someone asked like, why Mary-Kate and Ashley in the booth when they're recording music, or why are they in the environment? And he said something about them being the barometer for what white girls think about music. Like, that's just wild. But like, imagine if you just had your own version of these crazy thoughts outside the box, the amount of like wild tailoring you could do to helping people in all kinds of ways. And it's just like, why can't you? Why can't you come up with some weird ideas that no one else has come up with before?
I love this example. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. And this, for those who don't know, is known as one of the greatest hip hop albums of the last 20, 30, 40 years, right? So I don't know if we have time for it. If we don't, we can get to it later.
Group listening session.
One of my versions of this is like, right, no phones. As you guys saw me take the phones, right? It's a bit maniacal, right? But it helps you focus. If we have time, I'd love to brainstorm for like 3 minutes of like, what could our version / your version be of this?
I literally had that next slide. Like straight off the bat, I was like, does anyone have like crazy ideas? Because you're really good at generating some of these. I'll start literally one of them that I was like, why can't you do that? Is when you're on a call with someone, if someone struggles with time for you're going to deal with people who are like, cooking takes too long. Why can't you organize their meal prep for them as a value add-on within their coaching package? Like, you literally just be like, I'll sort it out for you. You give me the budget, tell me what foods you like, what you don't like. I'll have it delivered by these dates, this many meals. Like, what do you need? And I was like, I mean, you can do that. It's not that weird. I mean, even if it is a little bit weird, it just benefits them. Like, it doesn't, that's their issue. Like, that they can't cook, or like they think they can't cook and they think they don't have the time. So, hey, I can do that for you. I know it's bullshit, and I know I can do it in 5 minutes for you, and I can add that onto the package. So like, that's an example. Are there any other ones that come to your head? Anything?
One that Alex did was me going to New York. Who's done that before? No one's created an opportunity for their mentee to go and live in fucking New York City with them. That's a crazy idea. Appreciate it.
Off the back of what you said, Alistair actually did that with a few of his clients where he would
Did he?
actually go and do their first grocery shop for them. And
That's
deliver
great.
it to their door. And that was for people who found that as a barrier, that they couldn't go and make the time to go do that. So he's like, perfect, I'll do it first for you to help you, and then we can try and find ways where you can maybe like meal prep services, blah, blah, blah.
100%. That's awesome. I didn't even know he did that. But that was also, one of the things you can even just vary that a little bit and teach them how to shop. Like, I'm sure Alex has gone over with some of you guys where it's like you can actually offer a tour of the grocery store and show them how to avoid common mistakes that people make when they actually do spend time shopping, if they're not going to just do a click and collect order or anything like that, and show them like where they normally place certain items that are most appealing, eye line, how to find fresh produce. You can take them to like good markets or anything like that. You can provide them with a resource list. Like those are things that's just like, bro, the other PTs that are like grinding on the floor from like 6 a.m. to like 11 a.m. every single morning, just sessions, aren't doing that. Anything else? I know you got one, Brent. Let's go.
No, I'm feeling confused about what the question is though, because the Kanye example was about him and his work, but then now we're going into like what we're offering the actual client. So it's more about like in Kanye's case, the actual listener of the album, or is it more about the creative process from the back end from our side?
So it's more about I'd say the creative process from the back end to provide them with a solution to issues that they come to you with that wouldn't normally be able to be sorted by your, I guess, average Joe PT who just offers like a session, a workout plan and a nutrition plan.
So maybe break it down, like what a common problem is that your client might face. Sleep. So
What about
what about
like-
what about it?
They struggle to get to sleep, they don't get enough sleep, it's
Well, I
consistent.
sleep on night shift.
Yeah.
I
Is there-
provide them an eye mask.
Yeah, what have you done that's
Uh-huh.
worked in the past?
I have basically just sent them similar to like the list that you put up, like a list of easy, no cost things that they can do to optimize their sleeping environment. So it's like trying to make the room as dark as possible, as cool as possible, no like tech in the room.
So you could send them a care package with a sleep mask, some fucking earplugs, some tea, some magnesium and some theanine. And that's going to cost, maybe with all those things, you know, you could onboard some of the charges to them if you're going to start buying them supplements, but you know, you could even just do the eye mask, do it without the supplements, that might cost you $50. And if that's the kind of person you're going to work with, or you're seeing that problem recurringly, that could be something that you do with like clients who struggle with that.
Yeah.
And then say, that's another one, I'll buy your supplements for you.
Mm-hmm.
You just give me the budget.
I think, did Kiara do something like that with Chloe?
Yeah, so with my partner Chloe, Kiara's coaching her, and she bought her like this pack. Kiara didn't have much money at this time, and she only just really started coaching, and she bought her this pack that had like magnesium spray, these teas, some, I can't remember exactly what else was in it, but like just these natural kind of supplements. I think there was like some organic tampons, things like that.
Low tox stuff.
Yeah, low tox stuff that she could start using straight away to,
That's really cute.
yeah. But like, and Chloe was like, I was like, how'd that make you feel? She's like, so like just cared for. And she loves working with Kiara. And so it's like, you can create that impression at the start of your coaching journey with new clients, just by doing something simple. And it would cost her $20. Like, it wasn't expensive stuff.
I literally you can even just chuck it in ChatGPT. I just did that and it gave me about 25 different examples. Some of them are pretty average, but some of them are really good. Yeah, so you can literally, for example, cooking nutrition support, recipe drops. Send one easy goal specific recipe every week, tailored to their macros, preference, and cooking skills. You could host cooking sessions on a call, like a live stream, where only your clients can join, and save the recording.
Give you my slow cooker.
Yeah,
We'll be on the
oh,
show.
100%. Why not? You can run little sleep challenges, like run a 7-day guided challenge focusing on nightly routines, mindfulness, and tech detoxes, I guess, for lack of better terms. You can get creative with that. But the point is, like, you can literally just use AI to give you some different ideas. One thing that's just like super simple that I use, I have Amazon Prime. And quite often, like, if I'm on the floor with a client or I'm on a call with a client, something's coming up and I'm like, they need help with something. There's literally, I order so many clients this one set of scales that I think's here, the Renfro ones that logs it with an app, their body weights, because so many people join and like they're used to not weighing themselves at all, or they'll just weigh themselves after their workouts, like insane people, but they just don't know why. But I'll actually just order them the scale to their house. Sometimes like I ask like, do they need it? Like, can they afford it? Blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm just gonna get it for you. If they mention, I've done it with a client who struggles with smoking, and I just ordered them this one book that is clinically shown to be one of the best books to actually help people quit smoking. I just ordered it to their house. Then they message you a couple of days later, they're just like, oh my God, that's like the kindest shit ever. And it's thoughtful, and it shows that you're invested in them, and it builds that goodwill. But it's just like, it's not as formal or structured, but it's like, no one else is doing that for their clients. They're not ordering them things to their house. You just change the address. It's so easy. It comes in a day.
Yeah, I did, one of my clients, she's morbidly obese, like heavily relies on the Ozempic to lose weight.
Yeah.
There's been times where it gets out of stock for months and she just balloons back up, and it's like really frustrating for her. She can't find stock anywhere. So I found her, through another client that was taking it, I found a way for her to always have a Ozempic through this like relationship with a pharmacist, and now she doesn't have that problem anymore. I could just tell like she like really appreciated that.
You probably feel like a lifesaver to her,
Yeah.
because they might just not have like, imagine like, I don't know, I'm making an assumption, but like maybe she doesn't have like the best stress tolerance, and like that kind of thing is just like,
She
really
has,
gets them going.
Doesn't have like the brain capacity like day to day to like
yeah.
go out and like do those things. So
Even though it seems so simple to you, it's like, it doesn't matter what it seems to you sometimes. It's actually just like, for whatever reason, they're overwhelmed by this thing. I know I can sort it in like 2 minutes or 5 minutes, or even, you know, however long it takes, because they're going to appreciate it.
Some people just don't have that extra bandwidth
Yeah.
to cope with anything that goes wrong.
100%. You can really make people feel good when you do this kind of stuff, because the amount of like gratitude that I've gotten back, it doesn't even have to be a monetary thing. That's a payment right there. That fills you with energy.
And you can incorporate some of the things as well, like I spoke about before, the resources like books. Like I bought so many clients books like Atomic Habits. Buy your client a book, because they might not do it. And then Feeling Good is a really good one for psychology and feeling good if people have depression. Yeah, and
I've got a book. Think Grow Rich.
yeah, I think you can go.
That's true, yeah. I literally, you guys don't know this. We gifted them all the book upon first
Yeah.
experiencing.
And so and that's where it's great to have like a library of books that can address almost any problem, and you can just order them that book to their house. Put address as one of the questions in your questionnaire form, so then you have their address and you don't have to ask for it like a creep. And you can just order them a book to their house. It rocks up, and they have no excuse to not read it.
It's in that form, yeah.
Yeah.
The roadmap form, like have the address in there.
Yeah.
Or find the way that they learn. If they don't read or they don't like reading,
Yeah.
find them-
Picture book.
find it in a different way.
Yeah, I'm listening like at the moment on Spotify Premium has heaps of good free audiobooks. I'm listening to The Alchemist at the moment. Hey,
It's only like a 15-hour limit though.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been listening to the whole
Oh really?
Alchemist, yeah. Some of them are like, say, included in premium.
Yeah, but like you get 15 hours a month.
Oh, right.
Buy 'em Audible.
Yeah, just do it all.
Give them Audible gift or something like that. But yeah, be premium. That's what I like to say. Be premium. This is the next one. Next one, yeah. But you get the idea.
It's almost like the
I fucking made this, yeah. Be premium. Elevating your question. Oh, slide title. Whoops.
And I don't know if you're going to do this, Joe, but can we guys at the end of this make a commitment to at least one or two of these things that you're going to do from here on out?
I'm gonna leave it in there for the aesthetic, actually.
I'm gonna buy people books.
Where's
Yeah, I can
the mouse
be in
going?
a book club with me.
It's down the screen.
How do you just go full screen?
Just go up.
Yeah?
Yeah,
What would you
now
do
it's
for
on
this?
that screen. Go up.
I do it. You do your prep. Is this like
I pay for it and then I just charge it.
right? How do they feel when you do that? What are they saying?
We don't have to think about it.
Yeah, but so what's the response to the reaction?
He's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Well,
Not
let's
bad.
think about
Thank you very
something-
much.
something new here to that. Olympic level service.
That's it, Olympic level service.
Feel that, man, that's good.
Be professional. Be premium. So like I was saying before, you're not every other coach out there. You want to elevate yourself and you want to be a bit more of a premium brand. What do you think when you see premium brands? You just naturally have a higher sense of, they carry a higher sense of authority. You think they're better quality. You understand that it's just like a more expensive brand for all these reasons. So things you can do to be more premium is be a professional. Clients trust coaches who show up prepared and consistent. Treat every interaction like it's your most important meeting. Punctual, engaged, and fully present. All those things we can generally control, and when you can't, you know it, but it's pretty rare. And always just take responsibility for it. Your attire, your appearance speaks volumes, so dress sharp. Even on video, to show you take your role seriously. I remember early on, I just literally bought some merch from, what's the providers in Australia, just like where you got your logo printed on it? Fitprint. Yeah, just get a Fitprint shirt and just put your logo on it. I got a bunch of polos with my business logo on there and coming on the back. They're sick. You get some shorts, everything. Yeah, you get them for clients. You can get some shirts printed.
That's another good gift.
Yeah, you're coaching, and something's different when you see people wearing your brand for the first time. It's like, damn, they're supporting me like that. Even if it's a gift, it's like they chose to put that on.
Have you guys noticed anything?
Trinity shirts.
Yeah.
It cost me a lot of money. These are custom made or USD. Probably cost me like $1,000, but you know.
It's probably my most worn shirt.
Yeah,
One of one.
101. They are 101 actually. But he cut them individually. Pro tip, wear colors that contrast with your background when you're on like a video call for a bit of a more polished vibe. Lighting. Good lighting makes you look clear and approachable. Use a ring light or a softbox at eye level and avoid harsh shadows or backlighting. This is obviously for your check-ins and whatnot. You've probably seen the difference when you're in the calls, when you switch between like the MacBook camera and the actual professional camera, how different it looks. It feels, man, you go on telehealth appointments and stuff like that and they have worse cameras. Versus like you look like you're in a movie. It's crazy. It looks so much better. And yeah, tech setup. So like actually investing in some high quality visuals and audio shows you mean business. So invest in something like a DSLR camera, standalone mic, and a clean distraction-free background. Bonus, use a green screen if you want that subtle extra branding polish, like the Matrix background. Like that's fire. Like no one else is doing that. That's so cool. And it's very personal. It's like, I know who I'm talking to.
Who are you talking to?
It's very on brand.
Yeah, very on brand. It is. And it's one of those, it's an expensive purchase, but it's like, it's a one-off purchase. It's not something that you're going to be like, damn, after doing it, I wish I didn't do it. I wish I went back to the shitty laptop camera. Premium presentation, your setup reflects your service. Add subtle touches like books or plants in the background to reinforce your character or professionalism. So if you have something like that reflects what you do or who you are, have it in the background, man. Like just set your environment up in a way that reflects you. If you have like posters in the background, sporting ones. I think Alex said he used to have like some Lego in the background, and you've had people give you positive, like, oh, as soon as I saw this or that.
They felt more comfortable because they felt like they could relate to me, and that wasn't this serious, intimidating, confronting person.
Yeah, you're not just like a practitioner.
Yeah, not just a robot that just doesn't have human tendencies.
Yeah.
There's a great video, I'll try and find it on Alex's YouTube, that said that he talks about his coaching style when he was back in Melbourne, and one of the things he says in there is he's talking about the things he has in the background and how one of the things there got the client to kind of buy in and trust him a bit more because he related, and open up more because he related to what you had in the background. I think it was the Star Wars piece, and your client related to that, and it may help them open up a few more.
Exactly, whatever it is, something idiosyncratic to you. I have like a Peru poster in my background. I'm like, yeah, like I went there and I loved it, and I'm trying to learn Spanish. And I've had like calls with people from like Latin America and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, is that a Peru poster? And it's like, it's just like, it makes them feel more comfortable with you. It like desensitizes the call. It's like the first time you're meeting someone. And it's a good short string to pull on sometimes, or it can be like a really big reason why someone actually feels comfortable with you. Take notes, obviously, the way you should be, by jotting down key points during calls, so you remember things and you can draw back on them, because if they're talking, they're going to stray off, but there could be something that you actually want to come back to later. Having a split screen really helps with that. Helps you stay organized with the space. Script and notes, so you never feel like you're going off track. Mental state, like what we talked about before, sets the sets the tone. Caffeine, quick stretch, meditation, avoid distractions, and just give them your full attention. It feels really good when you have someone giving you their full attention, and when you're talking to someone, you're like, this person's a good listener. Like, that really makes a difference. Extra ideas, body language, use open gestures, maintain eye contact, which is just looking into the camera, or when you're with them on the floor. Don't just be looking at other things happening in the room. Session recaps, this is a good one. Send a summary of the key takeaways and next steps post-call. There are applications you can use for this. What's the one called? Fathom. This is sick. It's like it's a note-taking app, and it automatically can send them hyperlinked. It will send them a recording of the call, and it hyperlinks the key takeaways and the key points, and they can just click on it, and it takes them to that point in the video. So if you're giving them lots of feedback, it's just got it clearly laid out in this really neat way. It's really good, and there's multiple different applications you can use like that. Client journey maps, like using visuals to express the goals and the actual plan, like at the start. Custom touch points, surprise clients with personalized advice or resources like books and all that kind of jazz. Continuous improvement, record your sessions with permission to refine your delivery and engagement, but also you can use it to show to them later, to show, hey, you were at this point one time, when later maybe they're having some doubts or anything like that, where it might be relevant to show them like, hey, you've come a long way. It's like taking check-in photos. You don't see your body change because you see yourself in the mirror every day, but when you look at a photo from 3 months ago, you're like, damn, I see a lot here. So it's the same thing. You can do that too.
I think adding on that, a couple of those points that I would really highlight would be camera and audio and lighting, but then taking your check-in calls from consistent places. That was something I didn't do as well in the beginning. I would take some from different places and it wouldn't be as professional. I wouldn't have my good camera. Like, now I've got a good camera, which is ridiculously big difference compared to, I have a really good MacBook, but it's nowhere near as good as a DSLR camera. Invest in a good microphone and good lighting, and just do it from a consistent position where it's not just changing up all the time, and you've got unprofessional looking backgrounds, you've got people walking behind you. Make it look professional.
What's the cord you use from camera to MacBook?
The cord?
Yeah.
Just a USB-C to USB-C. It plugs into the camera.
Do you have an SV1?
Hey?
Do you have an SV1?
ZVE10.
So, right. I actually responded, you might have seen, I responded to this, you actually asked this question in Discord. Yeah, I think I did. I'll tag it for you. Thank you.
Can I have a different take on this?
Yes.
I think the camera, it's all really, it can be a big investment. So I think right away, get confident with your calls, communication, obviously what we're talking about. I think this stuff is awesome, and I think it's really important for that professionalism, but you can still bring that without the big camera, without this. Just start small and slowly build on it.
I bought a $250 webcam.
Yeah.
Because the camera on this is absolute garbage.
Yeah.
And it's shoots in 4K, and it's
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
Logitech one I just bought off Amazon, so it's not a huge outlay.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, work with the budget you've got,
Yeah.
obviously. And build these things over time. You don't have to
Yeah.
buy more at once. And
Yeah.
do Afterpay.
Yeah.
Great way to manage cash flow.
PayPal pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no one way to do it. I think that's a really good point. Sometimes it will be more suited with certain people in certain times, where for whatever reason, I might actually take a check-in call when I'm on the move because a client actually wants to jump on earlier or something like that, or it might just be a phone call or something like that. There isn't just hey, this is the only way you can do it, but in general, these are just some pretty reliable ways to handle most of your actual calls and just interactions with people. But there's also that human aspect where sometimes like you just need to like jump on the phone call with someone and just see how they're doing or whatever. And it doesn't mean your service is less. It's actually kind of cool how you can be a bit more adaptive and work on the fly. I think it's just about being flexible and just keeping, this is like a bit of a structured kind of approach to it all.
Yeah, I think what Em said is so valuable. Like, you could have all the gear, no idea. Like, you could have the best coaching setup, the best backdrop, everything, but just have no idea how to communicate with people, and you wouldn't be a great coach. So everything goes in together, but obviously don't forget the art of coaching.
If you're feeling like, if this was me right now and I was in your position, I'd feel a bit overwhelmed, like, oh, fuck, I have to get all this stuff. Don't feel like you have to get all the things.
Yeah.
Now, like, you don't need all the things to be a good coach and be good at what you do and provide good service and consistent service. Like, I don't have a current yet. I think I'm doing pretty well. But it's something that I want to invest in now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the stuff I want to invest my money in now.
Yeah. And like just write a list of the things you want and put it in order and write how much they are so that you know when you can kind of, or and aim to maybe like have a time that you want to have it by or something. Like, write a list of what you don't have in order of when you want to get it.
Yeah.
And then you can make those purchases.
Aim for the biggest return on investment ones.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, your skills and your knowledge and those kind of things are what actually really helps people at the end of the day. And there are coaches out there, like I work with one who just like shoots me my program on like a WhatsApp message or whatever, but his coaching appeal isn't this stuff. It's like, it is specifically the knowledge, but just know that for a lot of people who haven't had a coach before, this kind of stuff can make like a really big difference. And it's like, it just comes across like, damn, I didn't know a PT could be this professional. It's not a PT, it's a coach. But yeah, that's, any questions about those things? If not,
What camera do you have?
Sony's ZV-1, which is like a slightly older version of what Lockie's got, but I haven't been using that much recently, but I need to get back onto it actually.
The DJI one that is it you that has it from now, that's next level.
Yeah.
And
Ne-
it comes with like a mic and a
That's it, that's it.
That's the practical.
We're so similar. Aw.
There's been lots of hugs.
Yeah.
There are lots of hugs.
I'm
Well,
surprised.
Practical.
That's not actually the whole practical.
No, it's not.
But that's part of it.
You want to explain?
is that
Ooh.
mine? Sorry. No.
Yeah.
Hold
So,
on. Don't just start hugging each other, but it's fun.
do the, explain what the practical is. Are we running into it straight away?
Yep. Alright, so all we're going to do is we're going to spend 5 to 10 minutes. It won't be too long, maybe closer to 5 because Em's still going to present in pairs. Trying to just ask a few of these, practicing asking a few of these questions about to help find, each other's why and help provoke those thoughts in the other person, but also just to actually practice asking the questions.
So you're going to go in pairs. Someone's going to be the coach, someone's going to be the client, but you're not going to role play. You're not going to pretend you're a specific client. You're going to be yourself, and you as a coach are going to ask, like, if I'm asking Hayley, I'm the coach, but I'm talking to Hayley. Why she's training, why she's doing, like, you're finding her why. So you don't have to come up and pretend to be someone. You're just going to be yourself, and then you're going to switch. So maybe like 10 minutes, just so we can switch and kind of give you the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. Cool.
And your pairs, are we going to choose the pairs?
Yep.
Yeah.
Plus, you actually can